Hi third graders, Mrs. Wheeler here. Today we're going to do another lesson on measuring length, and today we're going to be measuring in yards. But before we get started, let's review what we already know about measurement. If you watched my video, we measured in inches, and an inch is from the start of this yardstick to just about right there. So it's very small, and if you remember, we talked about being just this part of your finger. So if you remember, we measured things like pencils and glue sticks. And then Miss Mahokey did a lesson on measuring to the nearest foot. And a foot goes from this part of my yardstick all the way to where my hand stops. And Miss Mahokey said that it's about from your elbow to here, depending upon how long your arm is. And if you remember, she measured the length of her dishwasher and the length of her TV stand. So today we're going to be measuring to the nearest yard, and this is a yardstick. A yardstick is 36 inches long. If you remember, a foot is 12 inches. So this is 36 inches is 1 yard. So how many feet do you think are in 1 yard? If you guess 3 feet, you are correct. So a yard is equal to 36 inches or 3 feet. I'm outside today because we're going to look around my neighborhood to try to find some things that we might use a yardstick to measure. All right, let's get started. I'm in my backyard and I'm looking at these tall trees. And I think that they're tall enough that I would use a yardstick to measure them. But I'm not going to climb all the way to the top of that tree to find out how tall it is. I have my yardstick already leaned up here against the tree. So we're just going to estimate how tall we think this tree might be in yards. I think I'm going to say that this tree is about 15 yards tall. All right, now I'm at my driveway. This is where my driveway starts. And it goes all the way down there. So it's pretty long. So I think this would be something that I could measure in yards. And yes, I could do an estimate, but I can also do what Miss Mahokey did when she was measuring her stuff in her house. So I've put down the yardstick on my driveway, and I'm going to mark the end of it, and I'm going to use this twig here. And then I'm going to take the yardstick up and move it to right here. Okay, and that's 2 yards. And then I'm going to mark it again. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way until I get to the end of my driveway. So I'll meet you at the end. All right, I made it to the end. This is my last one. And what do you think your estimate might be for how long my driveway is in yards? It is 40 yards long. I see a pole here that I think we could measure in yards. Again, I'm not going to climb up the pole, but I want to make a good estimate of how tall I think that pole is to the nearest yard. I'm going to say that my estimate for this is about 10 yards. So I could also measure the height of my house in yards from the bottom to the top, or I could measure how long my house is, the width of my house in yards, maybe even my car could be measured in yards. All right, so we're gonna go inside now and finish up the lesson. We're gonna do a sort inside. Let's finish our lesson today with a sort. We're gonna think about how we would measure the length of these objects, whether we would measure them with inches, feet, or yards. All right, our first object over here is the width of a window. What would be the best unit of measure for measuring the width of a window? Yes, feet. Okay, our next object is the width of a book. What is the best unit of measure to measure the width of a book? Yes, inches. Okay, how about the length of a football field? How would you want to measure the length of a football field? What would be the best unit of measure? Yes, yards. Our next one is the length of a banana. Where do you think we should put length of a banana? Yes, under inches. Great job. And our next one is my height. It doesn't matter if it's your height or my height. How do we measure people? Do we measure the height of people in inches, feet, or yards? Yes, feet. And our last one over here is the length of my street. What would be the best unit of measure to measure the length of your street? Yes, we're going to say yards. So maybe you can go around your house or your yard today or take a walk and see if you can identify some objects that you would measure and what unit of measure you would use to measure them.